Hi everybody, my name is Artist Mark A. Foltz. Today I'm going to take you into the process of showing you how I frame up one of your plein air little paintings from California. First of all, I start out with a very nice little handsome little frame. It's 2.5 inches thick, gold leaf plein air wood frame that is handsomely finished with an old world technique showing individual lines in between each leaf. It's a really neat little frame. It reveals a thin separation of the line. It's really handsomely done. And so anyways, let's get going and take you into the process of how I frame one of these up for you. So I'm going to set this aside here and we're going to go into the frame here. This is what it looks like, front and back. And I kind of look it over and I check it out and make sure, there's no any major problems with it. And it looks good to me, so anyways, let's pick out our painting. Today we're going to frame up this one here, California Zuma Beach Magic. We're going to go ahead and frame that up. It's done on a linen canvas hardboard panel, MDF, real hard, won't break, real tough, been varnished. And we're going to go ahead and stick it in there, kind of see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Yeah, okay, so anyways, what I do now is I get my dual driver point driver and I start to make sure that I kind of bend it up and get that driver point to really dig into that frame. In the old days, I used to use nails. Boy, that must have been a pain. Today, I got this little tool here, makes it a little easier. Kind of give it an angle so it really digs in. Without hurting you don't want to hurt the painting board too much. I usually give about 3 of these little points right into the edges, so I want it secure. There we go. Looks like it's all in there. Now what I'll do is I'll get a screwdriver and I'll kind of adjust it a little bit. I'll see if it needs to be adjusted. So looks like it needs to be adjusted over to the right a little bit and a little bit down. I'll just stick a screwdriver in there. There we go. Just a small adjustment. And then when I get that adjustment where I want it, I think I'll just add one more thread in there. Okay. There we go. Your little painting's framed up. Now, let's do some wire and backing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get my 3M tape here. It's a little double sticky sided tape. You're probably familiar with this if you framed before, but if not, I'm showing you. And how to do this. One side's wax so it won't stick to your fingers, and what I do is just roll it carefully around this edge and I rub it down. A pair of scissors, there you go, trim it off, and I just kind of rub it down with my thumb. It's real sticky, so you gotta be real careful. And I peel it off. Now I worry about the mess later. And I go and I do the same thing on this side. And I make sure it stays nice and straight here. You don't get too crooked. Okay, a little bit of a process. Trim it off with scissors. It's real sticky. Okay, and I rub it down, make sure it's getting stick to the wood there. Kind of rub it, scratch it a little bit if you need to. There we go. Another little piece done. Let's do one more on this side. Make sure it's even. It's sticky stuff, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. Oh. Okay, make sure you rub it down real good. Rub it good. Now, you'll know it's down good because it'll start coming off. The little wax will start peeling away from the adhesive. There you go. Okay, I think I got one more to go. One more side. Okay. I've been framing for over 30 years, so everybody does things a little different, but I try to put a lot of pride into my framing. And I've done it the same way for a long time. I used to do it the hard way with a razor blade and whatever. I got me a fancy little tool. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so now that I got all that sticky on there, see, it's all got that tape. Make sure it's all the way around. Didn't leave any holes. Pretty good. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll set it to the side over there for a second. and I'll get my pre-cut piece of paper, and I use a really nice piece of paper here. So this is really good stuff here. It's a good dust jacket, keeps the dust out, keeps it protected. Sometimes these tears, not going to be a big deal if it tears or not. It does keep the dust out, and that's all that matters. It's usually used on canvases that are breathable, but it doesn't matter with this particular type because this is a masonite piece panel. Okay, anyways, I make sure it's nice and level, and I kind of just carefully drop it down. Just kind of rub it. Rub it, rub it, rub it. I kind of didn't even it up that good, but it doesn't matter. That's why you cut your piece up bigger. Again, you just pick up the edge a little bit, kind of rub it, flip it over, and I kind of just hand rub it all the way around the edges. Make sure that adhesive is sticking to that paper. Then I'll get this tool, okay, and I'll just kind of rub it right on that edge. Do it pretty hard. You want to make a nice crisp edge of it. So you take your awl, you take the butt end of it and just rub it on there. Make sure you see a nice crease happening. Make sure your hands are clean. You don't want to get oily, greasy handprints all over it. Okay, so that, as soon as you're done doing that, it's going to be a little tricky here because I'm not used to videotaping, but let's go ahead and move some of this stuff out of the way. Like I said, here's that fancy little tool I bought. You might want to try to get one. It's a little dust cover trimmer done by Logan. It's got a razor blade there, sharper than heck, so be careful. Got a little curve. There's a little trick to this. So what I do is I make sure I kind of bend it down with my hand first, the paper, and I kind of get it right on that edge. See what I'm doing there? And I run it carefully all the way across. Do the same thing on this side. You got to angle it a little bit, kind of rock it a little. Sometimes it doesn't cut right in, so you got to kind of do it again. Get close. See how it's doing that? Sometimes you got to kind of rock it. There you go. Right. Okay. Same thing. Start on this end. And rock it a little. Get started. I'm getting a little hurry here. I got to slow down. You want to take your time doing this, so I usually take my time doing this. But okay, you can kind of see what it's doing there. It's kind of just going all the way to the edge there. And it's sharp. It doesn't look like it's cutting it, but it is. Okay, as soon as you're done doing that, just kind of tear it a little bit, get started. Do it slowly like that. And we don't want too much paper around the edge. Takes a little bit of the gold off, not too much. It's just the back, so it doesn't matter. Let's flip it around again. Start carefully over here. Same thing. And we'll clean up this edge a little bit. There'll be some paper. Kind of get your fingernail and kind of scratch it off. And we'll just clean that up a little bit. There you go. I'll do that. I like that tool because it's nice and clean. I used to run a razor blade just right along the edge there, and sometimes I'd cut myself or, get a little crooked. This does a pretty good job. It's nice and clean. Good little tool by Logan. Anyway, so there you go. Nice clean. See how nice and clean that is? So, like I said, just kind of scratch off some of that extra paper. You don't even need to do that. You just kind of I don't want to take too long doing this. I realize the video is going to end up getting too long if I take too much time cleaning up right in front of you here. So, anyways, you catch my drift. You want to clean it up. Okay, so now that you got everything the way you like it, it's time to frame it. That means it's time to wire it now. So, Let me go get my wire. Stay right there for a second. I was going to say the F word there for a minute because this was supposed to already be on my table, but it isn't. So anyways, didn't use the F word, so I'm happy that I didn't do that. But let's cut out a good piece here. You want to get you some nice vice grip cutters. Make sure you cut it long enough. Looks pretty long because you're going to need some extra length. So get your wire. Hopefully I cut in a long enough piece. Okay, and you make sure that's at the top. Then you get you one of your little hooks. You want to go about the fourth of the way down. And get your awl. And get a little starter hole there going. And get your little D-ring in there. There we go. That's the first part of it right there. That's your first little D-ring in. Now, I'll get my wire and I'll kind of bend it and kind of curve it like that. I'll aim it up in there like that and just kind of do this. Showing you guys how to frame one of these. If you haven't done a picture frame before, boy, they're fun. Okay, just pull it tight. Okay, just got it like that and you start doing that. Just start twisting. Start twisting until you get it to where you like it. Well, it's kind of a long process, but once you get it going, you'll get faster at it. Okay, and be careful because it is plastic coated wire, but sometimes it sticks out like here at the end and will poke you, so you got to trim it off. I take and I trim it off right at the edge. There you go, see? Nice and flat. Now it won't poke you. And then what I do is I get another one and I line it up just like you, okay? I just line it up just like you. And I make sure it's straight. It looks straight, see? Yeah, right there. I just eyeball it. Now, if you get a bigger frame, you're going to have to go, there you go. So it kind of looks good. It's nice and straight. Again, get a little hole started again. Yeah, put a little pressure into that. Get the hole deep enough to get a starter hole going. There you go. So you kind of get it like that. Then you flip it upside down, kind of like that, and you kind of get this curved right where you want it. You can have a little extra, there you go, a little bit of extra wire there. That's good, that's okay. Just kind of guess where you're at there. There we go. See what I'm saying? So you're going to have that extra length. I kind of like the length of that. Then I'll just trim right where I want it. There you go. And then I'll start to twist. And this will tighten up a little bit more as you're tightening it. You'll have less slack in the hanging wire. Again, see the wire start poking out a little bit. You just got to trim it off when you're done. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Poked you, told you. There you go. Okay, and then what I do is I just give it a nice little nudge again without using the power. There we go. There we go. There you have it. It's all framed up, wired, backed. Beautifully done. And then I check it on the wall for balance. Oops. Oh, too far away. There you go. Okay, and I just kind of pull down on it. There you go. There it is hanging. Voila. Hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks for your time.